Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord, and today we're going to be showing you the top 5 best Empire wives, so the wives from the Imperial background. And now out of all of the available spouses in the game, the Empire is definitely the largest pool that you can draw from because it comprises 3 different factions. So you have the Southern Empire over here, the Northern Empire up here, and the Western Empire over here. And so probably just as a general rule, you're going to find a lot of the best wives in the game in these factions just because it's so large and, so there's so many options. But I've whittled it down to the top 5 that I consider to be the best to choose. Before we get into the wives, I will just briefly say, in case you've never watched any of the other videos in this series, this is specifically for male characters looking for female wives. If you are playing as a female and you want to find a male husband, very different rules apply. Instead of following the rules from this video, basically you just want to find whatever single person from that faction you're looking for has the most stuff. So whoever's in charge of the most powerful clan, or if you can marry the king, obviously that's good, or just people that already have fiefs, because when you marry someone in the game, they become part of your clan, whether you're playing as a male or a female, and you just control their stuff then, as long as it was actually theirs to carry over. The rules are very different if you're doing that, but so what we're looking for in female spouses in the game is, again, you want them to be nice and young so you can have kids with them. You want them to have positive stats, or at least, not stats, but positive attributes, or at least attributes that are compatible with your playthrough. So if they're devious and cruel, that's fine if you're being a devious and cruel person for your playthrough, but if not, they're going to conflict with you a lot, and they might even be kind of annoying. But you're also going to want to look for starting stats and all that sort of stuff, and it's a little bonus if they've got really nice armor that you can take and wear, but I definitely don't recommend marrying someone just because they've got good armor or just because they have a good weapon. You can get good armor and weapons any time in the game. It's not that hard. But with all that in mind, let's just dive on in and start off with the person that I ranked at number 5. So at number 5, we have Panelia, and it says at the top, Panelia is a member of the Falentes, a noble family of the Empire that is backing Lucan in the Civil War. She has the reputation of being noble and generous, so she's part of the Northern Empire. The clan she's in, Falentes, is a low-level clan, nothing special about them. Clan tier 1, they start off with a castle, so pretty easy to sway them to join you. So if you're starting your own kingdom and you want to get a clan to join you and you want to do that through a marriage pact, this is a relatively easy one to do, and I don't find her ever particularly hard to marry, so it's not hard to get her to swing over to your side. So she's an easy wife to go for, is what I'm saying. On top of that, she's got generous and honest, which are both good stats for a wife, especially one that you intend to raise a family with. She is 35 starting off, so she's definitely up there at the top of what I would consider birthing years in Bannerlord. She still can have kids, and I tested it. I got married to her in the game and she got pregnant the regular way, so it is definitely possible. But for that, you're going to want to focus on your charm skill, the one that affects it. So the virile perk, that's going to be the one you want to make sure you have at the very least, because it'll help you have kids even with older spouses. Outside of that, starting stats are pretty dang good for her, which is why she gets rated so high. She makes a really good governor. So if you want her to, if you want to keep her at your town or your castle or whatever the case may be, governing one of your settlements, she is extremely good at it. So you can see stats down here. We have 141 for Steward, which is very, very high, one of the highest starting stats for any available spouse in the entire game. 120 for Charm, which again is quite good, and 120 for Trade. So she will make your settlement prosperous, secure, all that sort of stuff. So she makes an excellent governor, which is why she rates so high on this list, despite the fact that she is already 35 when you meet her. I would talk to her to show you her personality, but she's currently in Epinosa Castle, which is under siege. So can't do that, but we'll move on to number 4. And so next up at number 4, we of course have a lot of people's favorites, Nadia of the Western Empire. So it says Nadia is a member of the Komnos, a noble family of the Empire that is backing Garios in the Civil War. She has a reputation of being brave and generous, a good friend to have. So the Komnos clan is quite a powerful one, very, very important. Garios is the leader of it, and so he's also the leader of the Western Empire. So marrying her is quite special because she is his daughter. So definitely a solid option from the start there roleplay-wise, because if you can marry the Emperor's daughter, that's a pretty good start. Outside of that, though, there's a lot of other positive stuff about Nadia. Like we said, she's brave and generous and a good friend to have. Those are all really good things that are excellent to look for in a spouse. She's got the generous and the daring traits. She's only 25 25, so she's on the slightly older edge of young, but definitely still young enough to be perfectly viable as a spouse option. As far as her skills, she's got a lot of them, and they're usually decently high. So we can see that for governing skills, she's got 61 for trade, 60 for charm, and 81 for steward, which means with a combination of those three, she's definitely a good governor. So if you want a wife to lead your settlement, she's very good at that. But on top of that, she's got really good combat skills. So for her leadership in combat, she's got 120 in tactics and 120 in leadership. So not only can she lead a relatively large army, but she can also lead a very effective army because her tactics are plenty high. So as far as AI battles go, she's going to perform better than most. Outside of that, she's got good personal skills, 180 for bow, 180 for one-handed, 170 for polearm, 180 for riding, 150 for two-handed, and then we got bow and throwing and stuff like that. So she's in crossbow. So she's definitely a very well-rounded warrior in her own regard. She's a good leader, and she can be a good governor. So she can do anything. You can keep her in your party, and she'll fight very well for you. You can have her lead her own war party, and she will perform very well in that regard. Or you can have her govern your town, and she will definitely grow into that role, but she won't be incompetent at it at any point. So she makes a very good, well-balanced wife.
Now then, come no closer. Forgive me, but one cannot be too cautious. I would ask you for your name.
So you can see that personality-wise, she's going to be more similar to any wife that you find leading a war party. She's going to be a little bit more condescending, a little bit more standoffish. She's not going to be as open and welcoming as the more civilian-type spouses that you can find in the game. But I don't ever find her to be annoying. I've married her on multiple playthroughs. She's one of my favorite spouses in the game. Her personality doesn't bother me. So she takes the number 4 spot, but she is quite good. So our number 3 spot is Feya, or Feya, or however you're supposed to pronounce that. And it says, Feya is a noblewoman of the house of Dianikos, traditional wardens of the Empire's frontier with Panelia. Like her mother, Lysica, she has trained to fight and to lead men in battle, so that the frontiers can still be defended when the clan patriarchs are away at war. So she's another one that starts off as a warrior, and she is a little bit younger, so we have age 20 here. She's not from quite as prestigious a clan. The Dianikos are clan tier 4, but they do start off with a city and a castle, and Krotor is their leader. But outside of that, she's definitely a solid choice. For one thing, she starts off with passable armor, nothing super special, but definitely enough to protect her, and if you needed to steal it, protect you. She is only 20, so nice and young. She doesn't have any negative traits. She's got honest, which is quite good, and her skills are all quite good as well. So you can see for governing, we've got 101 for steward, 80 for charm, and 80 for trade, so she makes a very, very good governor for your settlement. So if you want a wife that's good at that, she's a solid choice. Her leadership skill is 120, and her tactics are 120, so she also makes a very good war party leader. So if you're looking for a wife that can lead one of your armies, she's also a very solid option for that. And on top of that, her personal combat skills are quite good. So we can see 155 with a bow, 160 for riding, 140 for polearm, 120 for two-handed, and then various other smattered skills throughout there, 150 for one-handed. So she also fights very well on her own. So if you're looking for a warrior to join your party and also be your spouse, she's also a great option for that. So really no weaknesses to Feya. She makes a good option for all of that. She's nice and young, doesn't have any negative things to say about her, and comes from a decent clan.
Well, and what do we have here? Would you care to tell me your good name?
As far as her personality, I find her very agreeable. I don't find her to be standoffish or snarky or condescending or anything else that you oftentimes find in spouses that start off with combat abilities. She's not like that, so makes a very good spouse, and I find her to be quite enjoyable to spend the game with. So she is number 3. Let's move on to number 2. All right, so at the number 2 spot, our runner-up here, we have Ira, who is currently my wife in the game, so don't pay attention to the current steward stat. It doesn't start that high, but it does start decently high, just not at 256, because that would be outrageous. I have her governing a settlement. But she is an extremely good spouse option. Again, like several others on this list, I've married her on multiple playthroughs, and she's always been a good wife. She does, however, have a slight downside. Some of her traits are a little bit aggressive, so she's got impulsive, cruel, and close-fisted. Those aren't great attributes when looking for a wife, but again, I find her to be a pretty good wife despite that. She starts off young, so you can see she's currently only 21. She's pregnant already, so clearly she's quite good at that. She makes a pretty good military person, just in general. So if we're looking down at her starting skills, I guess I should show you where she comes from. Her mother is Rygea, ruler of the Southern Empire. So you can't really get a whole lot fancier than that if you're looking for a spouse in the Southern Empire, because she is the daughter of the ruler. If you're looking at starting stats, we've got quite high across the board. You can see 100 for leadership and 100 for tactics, so she's quite good at leading her own war parties. Other ones are pretty high, like 180 for one-handed, 150 for throwing. She's got a real high riding skill. I don't know if it started that high or if she got that after joining me. Hard to say. But her governing skills do start off being quite good as well. She's got nice high charm. She has a high steward. Like I said, it doesn't start that high, but it does start pretty high. So she is, again, going to be another wife that can work effectively in your party as a warrior, outside of your party leading another party as a general, or governing your settlement, because she's good at all of that.
Awaiting your orders, as always.
And she's there awaiting my orders, as always. So, very solid option. I really like Ira. She can be a little bit, like, if your reputation starts to slip, or if your relation with her starts to slip, personality can get a little grating at times, but I think she makes a pretty solid wife option. So that's number 2. Let's move on to number 1. And finally, at our number 1 spot, we've got Sora of the Northern Empire. So it says Sora is a member of the Argoros, a noble family of the Empire that is backing Lucan in the Civil War. She has a reputation of being moralistic, which I find to be a good trait in a wife. As far as the Argoros, the clan she's a member of, it's part of the Northern Empire, led by Manteos, so he's the one you want to talk to if you want to marry her. The clan itself is a clan tier 5, and it starts off being rather rich, but they do have just the one settlement. It is one of the major towns of the north, Epicrotia, but a larger clan, powerful clan, so she's a member of it. She starts off being 21, which is nice and young, plenty young for having plenty of children. You can see some of the attributes are merciful and honest, which are great. Closed-fisted is not great, but it's not a huge deal for a spouse. No combat stats or anything like that to talk about, and no super fantastic over-the-top suit of armor, although she will have some good armor since she's obviously a high-level Imperial spouse. But she does have really good governing stats, so you can see 162 for steward and 142 for trade, and then 60 for charm. That is a solid combination. If you want a spouse that can very, very effectively govern your settlement and make you more money, keep the place more secure, and make it so you have to keep less troops there and stuff like that just to keep security, she's very good at it because she's got the stats for it. Outside of that, just riding, so nothing super special there skill-wise. But a very, very solid option for a wife, and that's why she takes the number 1 spot, because she doesn't really have a whole lot of baggage with her, but she makes an excellent governor and can really crank out kids. So makes a fantastic wife. But that is all of the Imperial wives that I wanted to talk about today. All 5 of the best ones. Now, mind you, there's some other ones that are also quite good. I made a whole big spreadsheet comparing all of them, and so, you know, there's plenty that made the top 10. It's just I wanted to narrow it down to the top 5. But that being said, if I didn't include one that you immediately thought of when I said best Imperial wives, why don't you go ahead and let me know down in the comments section. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll see the error of my ways when I check out the one that you're talking about. But in any case, that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.